Hi, Yara. I hope you're all ready for another good night story. All bathed and in your jammies and snuggled up, and we're going to read, okay? This was a story I liked when I was a little girl. It's got a crazy name. It's the name of the character is Rumplestiltskin. It's kind of hard to say. Can you say it? Rumpelstiltskin. Try it. Rumpelstiltskin. Rumpelstiltskin. It's fun to say, isn't it? All right, so let's read. Once upon a time. Notice that all these stories start with once upon a time. It's like a way of reminding you of going back into the olden days and thinking about this happened, it really happened, but it didn't really happen. It's just a fun story. Once upon a time, there was a young maiden who was the most talented spinner in the village. A spinner isn't like the spinners you have, a fidget spinner. It's not like that. A spinner is someone who weaves clothes like fabric, locks in and out. That's called weaving. And sometimes you spin it on a spinning wheel. Those old fashioned things that we don't use anymore. But it's how we take thread and make it into fabric, or we take like cotton and we spin it into thread. And so she was really good at doing that. She lived at home with her father, who worked as a miller. And a miller is a person who takes grain like wheat and grinds it up and makes it into flour so you can make bread. That's called a miller because they worked in a mill. The place that ground it was called a mill. The miller was so proud of his daughter. She was all he ever talked about. In fact, some of the villagers grew tired of him bragging about her. You know how daddies are that love their children. One night, while he was getting drinks with friends at a tavern, he went on and on about how gifted his daughter was. He'd been served too much and he was making outlandish claims that he wouldn't made if he were sober. So he drank too much and he started talking big talk. My daughter is such a brilliant spinner. She could spin hay into gold. So that's not true. He's really exaggerating. You can't turn something that's grown like a plant into gold. The other men in the tavern laughed and raised their drinks to the miller and his daughter. Despite his constant boasting, it was charming to see such a supportive father. He never expected that singing his daughter's praises would put her in the harm's way. Unfortunately, one of the king's soldiers happened to be also drinking in the tavern that night. Neither the king nor the soldier had any sense of humor whatsoever. They didn't think it was funny that he was drunk and just making these statements. When he heard about the maiden who could spin hay into gold, the soldier took it quite seriously. And since the kingdom was experiencing its worst financial troubles since the Dark Ages, he thought the maiden was the answer they'd been looking for. So they didn't know the dad was just talking, right? They really thought, oh, she really can make gold, and we need gold. We're poor at the kingdom, so they're going to do something. The soldier raced back to the castle and awoke the king to tell him the fortunate news. Your Majesty, something wonderful has happened, the soldier said. There's a young maiden in the village who has been blessed with the power to spin hay